Hey everyone. This video is just to talk a little bit about our LEAD program, Getting Real with Influence and Integrity, that's happening in May and June. 2-month course, all online, videos and recordings every 3 days, weekly webinar, Facebook group recordings, and one-to-one calls. So yeah, that's the sort of basis of it. But the content of it is really fascinating because we're going to have 2 whole months to look at influence, both in terms of the influence that has shaped this view of self, this view of reality, these beliefs, this conditioning, this learning that essentially is the basis of all experience that we have. Everything that we resist, everything that we think we need, everything that we're scared of, everything that we're ashamed of, there's an influence that has shaped that, created it even. And often that influence isn't really clear, like it's coming from people who are deeply troubled or deeply confused or have their own fears and desperations that are manifesting in their behavior, and then as children we're taking that on as reality, as true often. And so we're going to really look at that, because in every book about leadership, it talks about all the different leadership skills and the ways to, get people to respect you and follow you, believe in you. But none of them, not any of them that I've found, actually talk about the basis of sanity and integrity that is universal and is about the totality of life. None of them talk about that. They talk about values, but when we our values always look right to us, don't they? Hitler's values looked right to him. That drove him and his mission to atrocity, but the values looked right to him. The mind doesn't question its own rightness because it's based on belief. And so we're going to spend these 2 months looking at both those things, the power of influence in shaping the mind, in formulating a view of self, and the space of absolute integrity, absolute wholeness, unconditional love, absolute peace, from which new influence can emerge, from which new behaviors can originate. It's so fascinating. It's so fascinating, this. And so this course, I would say, is for anyone who is curious about their own experience of self and the world, and where that's come from, and how it can be seen more clearly, so that it stops being the trap, the sort of blind trap that it's been maybe all our lives till now, and how space can start to open up in it. So it's for all of us really wanting a greater experience of freedom in what we believe ourselves to be. And also for anyone who feels exposed still to the beliefs of others or the influence of others, and who wants to better understand that dynamic of fear and need and insecurity, really, that keeps us held in place with another that might not necessarily be the healthiest of dynamics for either, really. So to understand the formation of influence and also where the freedom is now in current situations and relationships, in work, maybe friendships, whatever. And then also it would be for anyone who has any sort of responsibility for other people. So it could be parents or coaches or therapists or teachers or bosses, bloggers, journalists, social workers, police, any job or life in which there are others that look to us for guidance, or where our behavior, our actions, our words are being observed by others and potentially taken on as some form of reality. So it's that. So that's what we're going to, that's who it's aimed for, really. Those three purposes. And what we're going to consider is that maybe there's only two purposes in life. The first is for the idea of ourselves as a separate, controlling, decision-making, autonomous identity to get less and less believable, and so that's the first purpose, for that sense of separation from the whole, to be seen for the thought and belief created illusion that it really is. And as that separation dissolves, there's more and more a sense of the entire world being both a reflection of current beliefs and arising within the presence that we are. It appears. Thanks to us, that's how the world appears. And as that becomes more and more clear, there's less and less sense of separation, there's less and less isolation, less and less insecurity. And that allows for greater and greater immersion in the world. So it's interesting, isn't it? Like we start seeing the sort of dream-like nature of the world, and yet it doesn't create distance from the world. It allows for greater presence, greater attention, and as this mind body moves deeper into the world, deeper into form, free of that personal agenda of securing myself, but just now full of curiosity and intrigue as to how things are, what's true, how does things work. Then there's this interaction with form. And it can be any form. It could be engineering or business or accounts or art or writing or textiles or design or teaching or coaching, whatever it is. That immersion, that freed up, no longer personal immersion in form is really, as I see it, where leadership for all of us, for each of us, the inner leadership for each of us starts to become more and more obvious. And it'll be so unique, so totally unique to that mind body, freed of the identification, then there's only curiosity, and we can go right to the edges of what this form is. You know, like it's really where the enormous strides are made, isn't it? In science, or it's where the masterpieces are written, or the discoveries are made, and the music, like the originality is. This is the space of possibility, and now it's a space that is being occupied by pure love, pure presence, pure freedom, not by the self, not by me, this individual Claire that decides stuff. That doesn't exist. And I know it sounds nuts, but that doesn't exist. That's not a thing. It's not a thing. It can't be found anywhere. Now there's just exploration and discovery, there's ideas, there's inspiration, and it's not personal. There's nothing to protect, there's nothing to prove, there's no stand. It's just the freedom of love and potential in form. And that is what I consider leadership to be. That's the future of leadership, no doubt. That old, confused, insane, really, idea that the mind of separation, that those values, that it believes so strongly that it will do anything, go into any amount of battle or conflict or genocide to protect, you know, those are they're wrapped up in a personal agenda of fear, shame, need, insecurity. And although the leadership might be powerful in the sense that it can instill, it can speak to those fears, needs, insecurities in all of us, and so we're terrified and we follow, we listen, because there's something life and death in what's being said here. The whole thing, the whole setup is coming from one of separation, always. And so there's no truth in it. It's insane. And it's not leadership. It's the installation of fear. It's the speaking to shame. It's the it's a dialogue of insecurity. It's a platform of instability. And so this integrity, this understanding of ourselves as the whole, and everything that appears in the world is us. That's the place from which the dialogue is one of love and wholeness and absolute potential. Oh, it's so exciting. I'm really excited about this course. Yeah. So we'll start in June. On this one as well, there's an opportunity to have a subliminal recording. Normally these are much more expensive, but there's a discount for anyone who's on this course. And the subliminal really is about, it's a piece of audible music or sound, like waves or rain, and underneath it are subliminal messages that speak directly to the unconscious, to that space of freedom and love and potential that is what we are, is the only truth of what we are. And so it makes it more noticeable, more the only obvious truth of ourselves. It raises the volume and the beliefs, and it speaks to how the beliefs aren't true, how the idea of separation isn't true. And so it's a great thing to have alongside the course if you wanted to do that, because I find the combination of the two, a subliminal recording played throughout, and at the same time an investigation by the mind, by the intellect engaged in this, the two together, really cool. So I hope you'll join us. I think it's a tremendously exciting subject, and it feels like for all of us there's really that step up of spiritual maturity, in a way of moving through and beyond the the smallness and the limitation of this constrained, constricted idea of of ourselves as an identity, and moving through that to that freedom of exploring whatever it is that calls to us. It'd be different for all of us. Whatever it is that speaks to that curiosity and intrigue and fascination, and there will be that's us stepping into the leadership of our lives, really, of really, good. So much love to you all. I'll just show you my cats. Look at them. Aren't they gorgeous? Oh, I love them. They'll be joining us. And so much love, and hopefully see you there. Bye.